Goedemiddag YouTube. This is Wingless Oracle and I'm very happy. Glad to see you guys tuning again, and I'm on my way to my favorite dealer, which is Motorcentrum Rijen in Gilze, because I'm about to test ride the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XC. Look at this beautiful Chevrolet Caprice Classique in front of me. Very nice car, guys. So don't get distracted. I'm on my way to the XC, and you heard it right. It's the XC version. There's not a lot on YouTube yet about the XC because it just came to the dealers this week, I think. So why am I testing the XC? Well, I'll put a link somewhere. I did a first ride impression on the XE, which is the highest spec version, a few weeks ago, basically because I want to buy one. But before I buy one, I want to ride the other one as well, the XC. Because, and here it comes, I think that the XC will give a very different riding experience than the XE, and that's what I want to test today. Because of the geometry of the bike, the shorter swing arm in the back, the steeper rake at the front, 50mm of less suspension travel at the front and the rear, and I think that makes for a completely different riding experience. If it doesn't, I'll buy the higher spec version. If it does, I might buy the lower spec version if I prefer that kind of ride. I don't know yet. That's what I'm trying to find out today. I think there's more people like me trying to decide on which one to buy, which one will suit you. I hope this video helps you make your choice. I'm sure it will help me make my choice. So if you're interested in that and you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll be right back with my review of the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XC. So guys, I'm up and about on the XC as promised. I've only been driving through a few hundred meters, and I can already tell you this does have a different feel to it. It feels less high. Of course it is less high, so that's not very strange, is it? But it also gives you that less high feeling. I didn't have any problem reaching the ground on the XE, by the way, and I'm 1 meter and 80 centimeters, and I have even less problem reaching the ground on this bike, so not much difference, but it just feels a little bit less high, which gives it a less commanding position on the road, I think. A little bit less overview, like some more like a standard bike, a normal bike, not an off-road focused bike, just a little bit closer to the road. I'm not sure, but it feels like there's a different angle in how the bike is positioned. It could be that because of the handlebars a little bit lower, the XE has a riser. It feels like you're more in a forward leaning position. It's not like you're leaning forward, you're definitely not, you're sitting straight up, but it just feels like I have to reach the handlebars a bit more, and it almost gives the impression that the bike is more canted forward. I don't think it is, but it gives you that feeling when compared to the XE, and as I mentioned, I think that's the handlebars being a bit lower. Well, talking about the handlebar, yeah, you can feel that it's less wide, but yeah, I kind of like this width. Definitely not too small. The larger handlebars, the wider handlebars on the XE, they give a kind of a cool butch feel when you're riding it, especially them being higher up. Again, I think it's more like a normal bike, not an off-road focus bike. I like that these are black though. The XE has them in silver. This looks much cooler to me, having them in black. So, well, everything on this bike is practically the same as it is on the XE. There's nothing really different. Oh, this bike's good. Nice torque. Yay! So, where was I? Colors, yeah. You've got 4 color options. You've got 2 colors for the XE, which is the green and the black one, basically, which are 2-tone colors. So they do matte and glossy combined. This is, the majority is matte, and then a little bit of glossy at the end. I think the black one's turned around, so the majority is glossy with a little bit of black on the end. I don't really like that decision. It's not the best design decision I made, in my opinion, to combine glossy and matte. I really don't think it does the bike any extra good. Just keep it matte or glossy. For me personally, would have been better. I like the cool green one. It gives a kind of a modern classic look with an emphasis on modern, because it's the matte green. I don't know, it's kind of a hipster cafe racer feeling I get from that. On the black one, I really like the black one. If I go for the XC model, I will definitely choose the black color, because I think it gives a nice foundation for customization and really blacking out the bike, which I think would be a cool idea, especially with the black handlebars on the XC models, and really customize it as a black, cool looking bike. Then for the XE, of course, you've got the blue and the white. I think the white has the more classic look, classic English racing look. Racing green stripe on it. I think that looks really retro style. The blue one is also very pretty. I think the blue one gives a little bit more modern and more tough look on it. The blue tank has the sparkle in it, and the black stripe really makes it a bit tough. So yeah, I think that's going to be a very popular color scheme. A little bit less classic, a little bit more tough. So for me, if I would choose the XE, I think I'd go for the blue one. And if I would choose for the XC, I think I'll go for, I'm pretty sure I'll go for the black one. Okay guys, so then when it comes to the geometry and other stuff of the bike, this bike feels a little bit tighter in the corners. You can definitely feel that it's more compact, so it does give that different riding experience a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely tighter in the corners. Not as much maybe as I expected. It's most notably that the XE gives you a more cruiser kind of ride. It's a little bit higher up, the handlebars a bit higher up, the suspension is just a little bit softer and gives a little bit more weight. It gives you a bit more kind of a cruiser, relaxed ride, where this is a more, I think the right word would be active riding experience. Definitely not canted forward or anything like that, nothing too extreme, but it just gives you a little bit more an active feel. Oh look, there's a bump in the road. Oops, I don't care. This is so much fun. So guys, there she is, the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XC version. So let's go over the bike and go over the differences with the XE. Well, of course, the main difference that you immediately see is that these are not in gold, they're in black. Actually, they're the same suspension as on the XE, just a little bit shorter, 50mm shorter, and a little bit thinner. The gold ones are a little bit thicker. I don't know the exact number of millimeters. This is the same Showa setup, fully adjustable, just a little bit lower. This, same story. Same Olin suspension as on the XE, just a little bit shorter, 50mm, and you really feel that lower bike when you're sitting on it. It gives you more confidence when you're closer to the ground. At least it gives me more confidence being closer to the ground. Yeah, very noticeable. 50mm, that means this is 200mm front and rear suspension travel, as opposed to the 250mm on the XE model. Now 250mm, for the people that aren't too familiar with these stats, that's really high up in the ballpark. That's high up, that's I don't know, Africa Twin kind of high up adventure bike. 200mm is just tad below average on adventure bikes. Nothing to be ashamed of. There's plenty of adventure type bikes that have way less suspension travel than 200mm. So really don't be set off by, oh, it's only got 200mm. No, it's got 200, which is actually quite a lot for an adventure style bike. When it comes to the electronics package, I think there's a main difference there. This bike has one less riding mode, so it's not having the off-road pro setting, which basically lets you turn off everything that LD rider aids on the bike, ABS, traction control. If you're a pro rider, you'll miss that. I think 90% of riders that buy this bike will not need that option because they will hurt themselves if they use it. So that's, for me, that's not anything that's influencing my decision. I'm not a professional off-road rider. I enjoy off-road riding, but I'm not that good. Then the other changes, other things. On the XE model, you've got different set of brake and clutch levers. They are much easier to adjust. They look cooler because they're black, and they feel better. So yeah, that's something that I would probably change out if I buy this bike, because I like the other levers better. Okay then guys, there's one more thing just to talk about, and that is one thing that's bothering me, and that's the lack of lean angle sensitive ABS and lean angle sensitive traction control on this bike as opposed to the XE. It's a safety feature, and I think as a responsible brand, if you have that safety feature for your bike, you're kind of obliged to your customers to put it on and not cut costs on that specific feature. If you want to cut cost on this bike, I don't know, cut cost on the keyless ignition, which is just a fun feature to have, but that's not going to save my life, and the advanced traction control, advanced ABS might save my life or might save my bike from a crash one day. So I think they should have put that on, and it's really, that's one of those features that's pushing me towards the XE, which is probably why they did it, so I'd buy the more expensive bike. That I don't like. Triumph, bad. Bad Triumph, bad. Bad Triumph, bad. So guys, I'm going to bring this back to the dealer and ponder on my decision. Which one am I going to buy? Cliffhanger.
So guys, I've been doing my pondering on my way back to the dealer and at the dealer, and I have decided, and the decision is, I am buying a blue XE model, the fully spec'd one. I've got two main reasons for that. The first being the safety features on the bike, as I mentioned in the review. I really want that lean sensitive ABS and traction control if I have the option. But the main reason for me is that the seating position on the XE just suits my preference more. When I came back to dealer, I sat on both bikes and I immediately noticed the difference, and the XE is indeed, as I thought, canted a little bit more backward, so the front forks lift the front end a little bit. That combined with the bars being wider and a little bit higher gives an adventure bike riding position, as opposed to the XE, which has a more normal bike riding position. I prefer the adventure bike riding position more, and I felt more at home on the XE. It also gives a more comfortable ride. So that's it for me, guys. I've made my decision. I'll share my first rides when I have it. This was Wingless Oracle. Stay safe and hope to see you next time.
Yeah, I like this bike. I like it a lot.